The movie opens with a scene of a vehicle. From the radio in the vehicle, we hear an announcement stating that the government has very few resources. There is a severe shortage of food and drinking water in the city. Because of this, the government has decided to kill children and pregnant women to control the population. Next, we see a person stepping out of the vehicle. This person is responsible for taking many people to a certain place. Among them is a couple. The woman's name is Mia, and she is with her husband, Nico. Everyone is seated inside a container. A woman in the container is seen watching the news on her tablet. The news confirms that the government is killing children and pregnant women due to the shortage of resources. Upon seeing this, Mia becomes extremely sad because she is pregnant. Despite the grim situation, she and her husband Nico continue their journey in the container. While talking to Mia, Nico gives her a chocolate and tells her to eat it only after their journey is complete. He tries to comfort her, saying that once they reach Molk, they will live happily with their baby. It is revealed that Mia had a baby girl before, but the authorities killed her. As they're talking, someone suddenly knocks on the container door. Nico goes to check, but as soon as he reaches the door, it opens abruptly and many people are forced inside. The container becomes overcrowded. A man with a gun standing outside orders half of the people to step out, saying another container will come for the rest. He forces Nico out at gunpoint. Mia watches through a small hole in the container as Nico is sent to container 107. Later, Nico calls Mia and tries to reassure her, saying not to worry because they will both end up in the same place and reunite. He warns her to be careful and not to trust anyone, urging her to stay safe with the baby. As Mia's container continues its journey, she sees government officers killing women, especially pregnant women. After a while, the container stops. Mia peeks through a hole and sees a few officers approaching to inspect the container. When they open the container, it appears empty, but there is ample space for people to hide. Everyone remains concealed. However, when one of the officers fires a bullet inside, he realizes that there are people hidden within. The officer threatens them, saying, "Come out or I will shoot and kill you all." Hearing this, Mia climbs onto a box inside the container. A girl, trying to save her life, opens the container door. As soon as she steps outside, the officer shoots her. Then, one by one, he kills everyone else in the container. After killing them, the officer orders his men to dispose of the bodies and clean the container. He instructs them to load the container onto a ship. The men follow his orders. Mia, who is hiding above, comes down once the officers leave. She tries to contact Nico, but his phone is switched off, making her extremely anxious. She then checks the bags left by the dead passengers in the container. Inside one of the bags, she finds a drilling machine, a knife, a light, and various other items. Later, the container Mia is in is loaded onto a ship. That night, a storm breaks out at sea, causing the container to shake violently. Mia screams for help, but there is no one around to hear her. The container continues to sway, and Mia accidentally hits her head on a box, losing consciousness. In the next scene, morning arrives and Mia regains consciousness. Her container is seen floating in the sea along with other containers. She tries to call Nico again, but her phone is broken. Then, through a small hole in her container, she witnesses container 107 sinking into the sea. She knows that Nico was in that container. Seeing this, Mia is devastated, believing that Nico has died. Overcome with grief, she thinks life without him is meaningless and contemplates ending her own life. But just as she is about to give up, she remembers the baby growing inside her. The thought of her unborn child changes her mind. She feels hopeful, knowing that soon their baby will enter the world. This realization fills her with happiness, and she falls asleep. The next morning, she wakes up to find water seeping into her container. As the water rises, Mia panics. But suddenly, she realizes it was all just a dream. Determined to survive, she searches through the container and finds plastic containers. Using these, she seals the holes where water was leaking in. She resourcefully uses other items from the container to make it a more livable space. The next morning, Mia receives a call from Nico. He tells her that he was removed from container 107 and is alive. He reassures her not to worry. Hearing this, Mia is overwhelmed with relief. She then tells Nico that she is still trapped inside her container. Mia tells Nico that she is floating in the middle of the sea. Nico reassures her, saying, "Don't worry, Mia. I'll rescue you. You and our baby stay safe." We've already lost a baby girl because of the government. After talking to Nico, Mia feels somewhat relieved, knowing he is still alive. She carefully organizes the remaining food in the container and consumes it cautiously. One day, another storm begins in the sea. Terrified, Mia experiences labor pains. Alone in the container, she gives birth to a baby girl in the water. Overwhelmed with joy, Mia hugs her newborn tightly and takes care of her. Slowly, she starts recovering, but the food supplies begin to run out. Mia wonders, how many more days will I have to stay in this container? She then notices the drilling machine she found earlier and gets an idea. She attempts to create an opening in the upper part of the container using the machine. However, her work is interrupted when her baby starts crying. Mia quickly tends to her baby. The next day, she resumes working on the container, but the drilling machine malfunctions. Frustrated, she throws it away and tries using the knife instead. Unfortunately, the knife breaks. Her water and food supplies are now completely exhausted, and Mia grows weak. She collapses and loses consciousness. In her vision, she sees the daughter she lost to the government and also imagines Nico. She feels as though he is telling her, "It's not your fault, Mia. You tried your best." Just then, raindrops fall on her face and Mia regains consciousness. Using a cloth, she pulls on the part of the container where she had been trying to make an opening. To her surprise, she succeeds in creating a way out. The first thing she does is collect rainwater in plastic containers. Stepping outside, Mia sees the vast sea around her with no sign of anyone. Holding her daughter, she shows her the sky and the ocean, promising, "We will definitely get out of here." Soon after, Mia notices some fish in the water. An idea strikes her. She decides to catch them for food. Using the resources available, she crafts a sharp weapon and tries to catch the fish. Despite her efforts, she fails to catch even one. Exhausted, Mia collapses. At that moment, she spots a plane in the sky. Acting quickly, she rushes inside the container, grabs a piece of a mirror, and prepares to signal for help. Mia tries to signal the plane using the mirror reflection, hoping to draw its attention. However, as she climbs out of the container, she injures her leg. Despite the pain, she remains determined and continues to reflect the sunlight towards the plane. Unfortunately, the plane flies away without noticing her. Disheartened, Mia returns to the container, treats her wound by stitching it herself, and wraps it tightly. While searching through the container, she finds a large number of earphones. That night, she sits and patiently uses the earphone wires to create a fishing net. The next day, she uses the net to catch fish, finally managing to get some food. This becomes her routine for many days, catching fish for survival. She also stores fish in plastic containers she found in the container. Every day, Mia writes her phone number on those plastic containers and releases them into the water, hoping someone might find them and come to her rescue. One night, she receives a call from Nico. He weakly says, "Forgive me, Mia. I couldn't save you. The police caught our container. I was shot." Mia tearfully replies, "Nico, we had a baby girl. She looks just like you." She holds the baby close and lets Nico hear her baby's cries over the phone. Moments later, the phone disconnects, leaving Mia devastated. She sobs uncontrollably and lies down on top of the container. Days pass and Mia continues to survive using all the resources she has left. By now, it has been 32 days. Using empty boxes from the container, she builds a small makeshift boat. Placing her baby safely inside, she begins to paddle away, still determined to survive. While rowing, Mia spots a stork flying in the sky. Believing that land might be nearby, she feels a renewed sense of hope. However, as night falls, water starts flooding into the container. Mia's baby's photo falls into the water. When Mia tries to retrieve it, her leg gets tangled in some ropes. At the same time, the small boat carrying her baby is swept away by the water. Panicking, Mia desperately frees herself from the ropes and resurfaces. But to her horror, her baby is nowhere to be seen. While frantically searching, she notices a large whale approaching her baby's boat. The whale splashes water near the boat, causing the baby to cry. Mia immediately follows the sound of her baby's cries, relieved to find her unharmed. Hugging the baby tightly, she whispers, "I survived for you. You saved me." Exhausted, Mia holds onto the baby and drifts off to sleep. The next morning, Mia wakes up, catches a fish, and eats it for strength. She carefully stores more fish in the plastic containers and secures them to the boat. Holding her baby close, Mia says, "We've done everything we could. You truly saved my life." Just then, she notices a flock of birds flying overhead. She throws fish towards the birds, hoping to attract them. The birds gather around Mia and her baby. Meanwhile, a young girl on a nearby boat notices the flock of birds. Curious, she tells her father to steer the boat towards them. As they approach, they find Mia's baby in the small makeshift boat. Shocked, the girl wonders who could have abandoned a baby like this. Then, they notice a rope tied to the baby's boat. When they pull the rope, they see Mia, who had tied the other end of the rope to her waist. The father and daughter quickly pull Mia out of the water. However, Mia is unconscious, having been underwater for too long and unable to breathe. The girl desperately tries to revive her, but Mia remains unresponsive. Just then, Mia hears the sound of her baby crying. The familiar sound brings her back to consciousness. Weakly, she asks, "Where's my baby?" The girl gently hands the baby to Mia. The girl's father immediately calls for medical assistance. Seeing her baby safe in her arms, Mia is overwhelmed with relief and gratitude. Tears stream down her face as she hugs her baby tightly. Mia is deeply thankful to the strangers who saved her and her daughter. She imagines a new life ahead, filled with hope. Despite facing unimaginable hardships, she managed to survive and protect her child. Becoming a mother gave Mia the strength to endure and overcome every challenge. In the end, Mia's resilience and maternal love saved her and her baby. The movie concludes on this emotional note, celebrating the courage of a mother who defied all odds to protect her child. Thank you for watching our movie recap. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing for more great content. Your support means a lot to us. Have a wonderful day.